Steve Harvey was halfway through a joke when 46-year-old Denise Carter gave an answer that changed the entire atmosphere inside the Family Feud studio. The question sounded harmless. We asked 100 married women, name something valuable your husband might give away without telling you. Denise hit the buzzer. His kidney, she said. For 1 second, nobody reacted. Then a few people laughed, assuming it was a strange joke. Steve stared at her. His what? His kidney. The answer was not on the board. Steve turned toward Denise's husband, Marcus, a 50-year-old auto mechanic standing at the family podium. Sir, did you give away a kidney without telling your wife? Marcus looked down. Denise's eyes filled with tears. He gave it to my brother. Steve started to respond. Well, that is a beautiful. My brother destroyed his business, Denise added. Steve stopped mid-sentence. The studio went completely silent. Denise reached into her pocket and removed a folded hospital bracelet. Her brother's name, Anthony Mills, was printed across it. Marcus lost everything because of Anthony, she said. Our house, his shop, and almost our marriage. They did not speak for 9 years. Then Anthony's kidneys failed. None of us knew Marcus was tested. None of us knew he was the donor until 3 weeks ago. Steve slowly lowered his question card. You mean this man saved the life of somebody who ruined his? Denise nodded. Marcus finally looked up. He is my wife's brother, he said. I could not let her bury him. Steve opened his mouth, but no words came. The audience rose to its feet. What they did not yet know was that Marcus's secret donation had nearly cost him his own life, and that Anthony was waiting backstage with a confession that would force the entire family to revisit the worst year they had ever survived. Denise Mills grew up in Nashville with her younger brother Anthony. Their father left when Anthony was 6. Their mother Lorraine worked double shifts in a hospital cafeteria to keep the family together. Denise became Anthony's second parent. She helped him with homework, attended school meetings, and defended him whenever other children mocked his old clothes. You are not only my brother, she often told him. You are my first child. Anthony was intelligent and ambitious, but he hated feeling poor. He promised himself that one day he would own expensive cars, wear tailored suits, and never ask anyone for help. Denise wanted a quieter life. She became a middle school secretary and married Marcus Carter at 26. Marcus repaired engines from the time he was a teenager. He could hear a car idle for 10 seconds and identify the problem. After years of saving, he opened Carter Family Auto in a rented garage. Denise managed appointments after school. Anthony handled bookkeeping while studying business at night. The shop grew steadily. Marcus treated employees fairly and never charged elderly customers for small repairs. Anthony wanted faster expansion. You think too small, he often told Marcus. 1 shop will keep you comfortable. 5 shops will make us rich. Marcus replied, a business should learn to walk before you buy it running shoes. For 8 years, the family worked together. Anthony became more confident and took control of supplier accounts. Marcus trusted him like a younger brother. Then Anthony saw what he believed was a shortcut. A property developer offered him an investment opportunity involving used car lots. Anthony secretly used the auto shop's credit line and forged Marcus's electronic approval. He believed he could return the money before anyone noticed. The investment collapsed. More than $400,000 disappeared. Suppliers stopped deliveries. Employees went unpaid. The bank seized equipment. Marcus discovered the truth when a tow truck arrived to remove his diagnostic machines. Anthony vanished for 3 days. When he returned, he apologized and promised to repair the damage, but an apology could not reopen the shop. Marcus sold the family house to settle part of the debt. He and Denise moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with their teenage daughter, Kayla. Marcus took a job at a dealership owned by a former competitor. The humiliation nearly broke him. He had spent 15 years building a business with his name on the sign. Now he entered another man's garage through the employee door. Denise felt trapped between her husband and brother. She loved Anthony, but she refused to defend him. You did not make a mistake, she told him. You made a series of choices and hid every one. Marcus wanted no contact. Anthony moved to another state and worked temporary jobs. The siblings spoke only when their mother became ill. For 9 years, the family carried the damage. At 42, Anthony collapsed at work. Doctors diagnosed advanced kidney disease caused by untreated high blood pressure and a genetic condition. He needed dialysis immediately. Denise visited him 3 times a week. She sat through treatments, organized medication, and tried to keep their mother from losing hope. Marcus did not stop her. "He is your brother," he said. "I will never ask you to abandon him." But Marcus refused to visit. Anthony's condition worsened. He was placed on a transplant list. But doctors warned that the wait could be years. Lorraine was too old to donate. Denise volunteered, but was not medically compatible. Kayla wanted to be tested, but Denise refused to let her 20-year-old daughter carry that burden. One night, Denise returned from the hospital and found Marcus sitting alone in the kitchen. "How bad is it?" he asked. "The doctors are worried he will not last another year." Marcus nodded but said nothing. The next morning, he called the transplant center. He completed the testing privately. Against all probability, he was a strong match. The coordinator asked whether he understood that Anthony had no legal right to know the donor's identity. "Keep my name out of it," Marcus said. "If he knows, guilt will turn the kidney into another debt." He told Denise he needed surgery for a hernia. Because donor and recipient procedures happened at different entrances and medical privacy protected both patients, the family did not discover the truth. Marcus underwent surgery early on a Monday morning. Anthony received the kidney hours later. Complications began that night. Marcus developed internal bleeding and required a second operation. Denise sat beside his hospital bed believing a routine procedure had gone wrong. Marcus still refused to tell her. "Why are you protecting this secret?" A nurse asked him privately. "Because my wife has spent 9 years standing between 2 men she loves," he said. "For once, I want to remove her from the middle." Anthony's new kidney began working almost immediately. His color improved. His energy returned. He cried when doctors told him an anonymous living donor had saved him. "Why would a stranger do this?" he asked. The doctor replied, "Maybe the donor did not think you were a stranger." Marcus planned never to reveal the donation. But 3 weeks before the Family Feud taping, Denise found a transplant center letter inside a drawer while searching for insurance papers. It thanked Marcus for becoming a living kidney donor. Denise read the letter twice. At first, she believed he had donated to someone at work. Then she compared the surgery dates. Marcus's operation and Anthony's transplant occurred on the same day in the same hospital. She confronted him that evening. "Tell me it was not you." Marcus looked at the letter and sighed. "It was me." Denise began to cry. "You could have died." "He would have died. After what he did to you?" Marcus sat at the kitchen table. "I did not give him a kidney because he deserved one," he said. "I gave it because you did not deserve another funeral." Denise struggled to understand. "Do you forgive him?" "Not completely." "Then why?" Marcus looked toward a framed family photograph. Forgiveness is not the only reason to save a life. He explained that hating Anthony had begun to control him. Every success felt smaller because it did not restore the shop. Every family gathering was measured by who was missing. Donating the kidney did not erase the betrayal, but it ended Marcus's belief that Anthony's worst choice should determine Marcus's own character. Denise asked whether Anthony knew. "No, and I do not want him to." But Denise believed the truth could no longer remain hidden. Anthony needed to understand the weight of what Marcus had done. Marcus finally agreed to tell him after the Family Feud trip. He did not know Denise had already informed the producers. The Carter family applied to Family Feud to celebrate Lorraine's 70th birthday. Their team included Marcus, Denise, Kayla, Lorraine, and Marcus's sister Felicia. Anthony said he was not well enough to travel. In reality, producers brought him separately and kept him backstage. The Carters faced the Bennett family from Florida. The opening rounds were joyful. Lorraine danced after giving a #1 answer. Steve joked about Marcus diagnosing his old cars by sound. Denise seemed nervous, but Steve assumed it was the game. Then, he asked the question about something valuable a husband might secretly give away. Denise answered, His kidney. Steve stopped mid-sentence when she revealed the recipient. He walked toward Marcus. "Why did you hide it from your wife?" Marcus answered, "Because it was my decision, but the fear would have become hers." Steve shook his head gently. "I understand the love behind that, but marriage means fear belongs to both people too. She had a right to know you were risking your life." Marcus nodded. "She did. That part was wrong." Denise reached for his hand. "I am angry he hid it," she said. "I am also standing beside the kindest man I have ever known." Lorraine had not known. When she understood that Marcus saved her son, she began sobbing. "After what Anthony took from you, you gave him part of your body?" Marcus replied, "He took a business. I was not going to let bitterness take the rest of the family." Steve turned away for several seconds. "Man," he whispered. That is a sentence. A producer handed Steve a card. He looked at Marcus. "There is someone here who needs to hear this from you." Anthony walked onto the stage. He appeared healthier than Denise had seen him in years, but his face was filled with fear. Marcus looked at his wife. "You brought him?" Denise nodded. The secret was saving his body and destroying his chance to understand. Anthony stopped in front of Marcus. "Was it really you?" Marcus nodded. Anthony began to cry. "Why?" "Because your sister loves you. You hate me. I hated what you did. Sometimes I hated you too. But I did not want your death on the list of things that business cost us." Anthony dropped his head. "I cannot repay you." Marcus answered, "Then stop trying to repay me. Become trustworthy." The studio was silent. Anthony reached into his jacket and removed a folder. He had prepared a confession. During the failed investment, he had not merely forged Marcus's approval. He had also moved $25,000 into a private account before the collapse. Fear kept him from admitting it. Over 9 years, Anthony had rebuilt the money. The folder contained a cashier's check with interest and notarized documents accepting full responsibility. Denise stared at him. "You let us lose the house while you hid money?" Anthony nodded. "I told myself I needed it for a lawyer. Then I was too ashamed to confess." Marcus's expression hardened. Steve stepped closer. "This is the part people do not put in inspirational stories," he said. "A generous act does not make the damage disappear. Saving a man's life does not require pretending he did less harm than he did." Anthony handed Marcus the folder. "You can report me. I will accept it." Marcus did not offer immediate forgiveness. "I gave you a kidney so you could live," he said. "What happens next depends on how honestly you live." Steve asked both men to stand beside him. "People confuse forgiveness with removing consequences," he said. "They are not the same." Marcus protected Anthony's life. He does not have to protect him from accountability. He turned toward Anthony. "Your brother-in-law gave you something he cannot grow back. Your response cannot be one emotional apology on television. It has to be a new life built one honest day at a time." Anthony nodded. Steve then addressed Marcus. "And you, sir, need to understand that love does not require secrecy. You nearly died while your wife believed you were having a minor procedure. A noble reason does not make every method right." Marcus accepted the correction. Denise said, "That is why I gave the answer. I did not want people to hear only that my husband is a hero. I wanted them to know kindness can still make mistakes, and forgiveness can still demand the truth." Steve looked at her. "That is why you stopped me. I was about to wrap this story in a pretty sentence. But this family is still doing the hard part." The game was paused, but the Carters later completed it. They won and reached fast money. Marcus and Denise scored enough points to earn $20,000. They used the prize to start a small emergency fund for living organ donors who missed work during recovery. Marcus knew firsthand that even insured donors could face travel costs, lost wages, and family expenses. Anthony's cashier's check was placed into a legal trust while attorneys reviewed the old fraud. Marcus did not pursue prison, but Anthony signed a formal repayment agreement and publicly accepted responsibility with former employees. Some people refused to forgive him. Marcus did not pressure them. Anthony began working part-time at a non-profit that taught financial ethics and supported people returning to work after serious illness. He also spoke to transplant patients about honoring donated organs through responsible living. Marcus rebuilt Carter Family Auto in a smaller location. He invited several former employees to return. Anthony was not given financial authority, but he volunteered on weekends doing maintenance under supervision. Trust returned slowly. 1 year later, the family appeared in a follow-up segment. Anthony remained healthy. Marcus had fully recovered. The donor emergency fund had assisted 11 families. Steve asked Marcus if he had forgiven Anthony. "Enough to want him alive," Marcus said. "Enough to leave room for change, but trust is still making its way home." Anthony accepted the answer. "I spent years asking people to judge me by my intentions," he said. "Now I understand they have the right to judge my pattern." Denise looked at both men. "For 9 years I thought healing meant getting them into the same room," she said. "Now I know healing means everyone in the room can tell the truth without running." His kidney never appeared on the Family Feud board. It earned the Carter family 0 points. But the answer became one of the show's most remembered moments. Viewers wrote to Marcus from across the country. Some were living donors. Others were people carrying anger toward relatives who had betrayed them. Marcus answered as many letters as he could. He always wrote the same warning: "Do not copy my decision because it sounds noble. Donation must be voluntary, medically safe, and free from pressure. The lesson is not that you owe part of your body to someone who hurt you. The lesson is that their worst action does not get to choose your best one." Denise framed the hospital bracelet beside a photograph of the rebuilt shop. Underneath, she placed a small plaque: "A second chance is a gift. Trust is earned afterward." Years later, Steve recalled the moment Denise stopped him mid-sentence. "I was ready to call it beautiful and move on," he said. "She made me see that real forgiveness is not a clean television ending. It can contain love, anger, boundaries, consequences, and hope at the same time." Marcus never recovered the original business exactly as it had been. The lost years remained lost. The betrayal remained part of the family's history. But it was no longer the final chapter. Anthony used the kidney Marcus gave him to build a life defined by accountability rather than excuses. Denise no longer stood between two men refusing to speak. Lorraine saw her family share a table again. And Marcus proved that the most valuable thing he gave away was not only a kidney. He gave away his right to let bitterness decide what kind of man he would become.